Today we are going to talk about the forbidden fruit of Eden, which we would argue is flesh or animal flesh or any kind of flesh. In Genesis, after eating the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden, and they went from immortal to mortal. What on earth was the forbidden fruit? Was it really an apple as depicted by Renaissance writers? This is one of the greatest puzzles in the Bible. What is the forbidden fruit? What's wrong with eating an apple? It has been bewildering people for thousands of years. So today we'll explore this topic in depth. What is so wrong with eating a vegan fruit, be it an apple or a pineapple or a banana? Of course, some theologians argue that it was disobedience of God rather than the contents of the disobedience that caused the downfall of the first humans. But who has not disobeyed their parents during childhood? By examining the Hebrew original of the words concerned and their context, this session, inspired by Jeff Popick and Jane Erwin, argues that the forbidden fruit of Eden is meat or animal flesh. That the original sin is animal flesh consumption. Diet is the prime issue instead of a trivial issue in Christianity. You are what you eat. You are what you eat, German philosopher Ludwig Feuerbach stated in 1863. It is in this context that God explicitly warned humans against eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. Genesis 2:17. But what's wrong with the knowledge of good and evil? Aren't we supposed to know good from evil? On the surface, it doesn't make much sense. And when Eve and Adam did eat the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, they were driven out, kicked out from Eden. Genesis 3:1-24. The original sin is therefore probably meat eating, because let's now analyze the original Hebrew words for the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. According to Swedish theologian cum scientist Emanuel Swedenborg, human beings are born with fewer instincts than animals, while the former is compensated with more developed reason and intellect. In contrast to humans, animals instinctively know what kind of food is suitable for them to eat. As a result, God found it necessary to provide our first parents, Adam and Eve, with dietary guidance. I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. Very good. Genesis 1:29 to 31. God thereby prescribed a vegan diet to the first humans. Now, this is the famous Genesis 1:29. So are they eating actual apples or animal flesh? That's the question. Who ate flesh first, Adam or Eve? On average, there are more non-vegan men than non-vegan women. Yeah, we are not very sure. Maybe initially Eve was vegan, and then Adam killed an animal and ate the flesh of the animal, and then put the blame on Eve. We are not sure about this point. Now, the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil in Hebrew, fruit, peri. The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil could mean not only a plant food, but also a cup or an egg or a human offspring. According to Ben Torah's Hebrew word study, fruit or peri. Peri is the Hebrew word for fruit. Peri can mean not only a product of plant growth and the effect of an action, but also offspring or progeny. Peri as fruit, as progeny. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. Ernst Haeckel's Biogenetic Law, 1866. That is to say, the development of the embryo of an animal from fertilization to gestation or hatching, that is ontogeny, goes through stages resembling or representing successive adult stages in the evolution of the animal's remote ancestors, phylogeny. Now, a human fetus is a fertilized egg, like a bird egg, and like a plant food, which is a fertilized oval. And according to Jane Erwin, when the zygote, when the fertilized egg is only 16 cells in size, half of them break off to form the placenta, the root system. The stalk or the umbilical cord attaches to the fruit or the fetus and to the placenta, which projects root-like filaments into the earth or the uterine lining for nourishment. Fruit as offspring in the Bible. Actually, fruit or peri is often used in the Bible to refer to offspring. For example, after creating the animals and upon creating humans, God respectively blessed both and said unto them, be fruitful, para, and multiply. Genesis 1:22 and 28. Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Psalm 127:3. Fruit of the womb. Ephraim is smitten, their root is dried up, they shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of their womb. Hosea 9:16. Veronica, will you please read this aloud? Veronica, you are muted.
Sorry about that. Ephraim is smitten, thy root is dried up, they shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of thy womb. Hosea 9:16, King James Version. Blessed shall be the fruit of the body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Deuteronomy 28, verse 4, King James Version.
Oh, thank you very much, Veronica. Yes. So you see, the Bible often uses the fruit to mean offspring. For both humans and animals. In both Hebrew and English, tree represents life, and it is connected with family tree. Throughout the Old Testament, the righteous person is also often likened to a tree, like in Psalm 1:3, 52:8, 72:7, Proverbs 11:28, Numbers 24:6, Isaiah 61:3, Hosea 14:5-8, Jeremiah 17:8. Numerous examples. Tree as family tree. Vanessa, will you please read this aloud?
For example, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. Psalm 1:3. He will be like a tree planted by the water, that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. Jeremiah 17:8.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Vanessa. So you see a tree as a family tree. Now knowledge, da'af as conscious knowledge. Da'af, the Hebrew word for knowledge, can mean perception and understanding according to Hebrew word study by Jean Betora. And perception and understanding are directly related to sentience or conscious awareness. According to Bentora, good or top denotes happiness, pleasantness, prosperity, moral good, welfare, benefit, excellence, richness, bounty, beauty, etc. The same word is used in God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1:25. It was good. Tob. In other words, all the animals created by God to be living creatures are good in God's eyes. In this way, good is connected with sentient beings, sentient creatures being alive. So far, so good. Any question? So the opposite of good is evil. Evil, ra, as death. According to Strong's Hebrew Dictionary of the Bible, ra or evil denotes harm, destruction, deadliness, disaster, wickedness, sadness, threat, etc. It follows that evil is closely related to death. Again, the forbidden fruit was from the tree that was in the midst of the garden. According to Jeff Popick, midst means central part. The central part of the Garden of Eden is God and his fruit, as in be fruitful and multiply. God's fruit is the humans and the animals, wherein there is nephesh chaya, or living soul, mistranslated as life in most English versions of the Bible, which God banned Adam and Eve from consuming. So don't consume God's fruit. God's fruit is humans and animals. Thus, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil probably refers to the offspring or cubs or eggs of a den or a family of living creatures who are self-aware, self-conscious enough to prefer life to death, joy to pain. In other words, eating the forbidden fruit is killing a sentient being and eating their flesh. So, Adam and Eve eating flesh, the flesh. These are lambs, these are deer and lamb. The apple tree is here. You should only eat the apples, not the animals. There is a fall. Any questions? So far, so good. Now, eating meat destroyed paradise. Eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil added the hereto absent elements of evil to Eden's otherwise good dimension. What could be more evil than denying life to any of God's sentient fruits? By eating evil to paradise, eating of this tree or eating flesh primarily ruined it. Paradise is ruined. Paradise is destroyed or polluted when even just one component of that paradise is contravened. You can opt for meat, but you cannot consume meat without generating evil. So eating meat again, Adam and Eve. Shouldn't have done it. As argued by Jeff Popick, since we are all connected, that is, all things work together, we cannot have paradise if they do not have paradise. It's a direct quotation from Jeff Popick's books. Jeff Popick's book. Like, we cannot bring terror and slaughter to one of God's creatures without tearing down paradise for ourselves. Wait a second. This is Jeff Popick's book. Don't know whether you can see the book cover clearly. So, this is his book is The Real Forbidden Fruit. The Real Forbidden Fruit. How meat destroys paradise and how veganism can get it back. Mr. Jeff Popick is also known as the vegan sage. He is a keen visionary and one of the leading experts on the diverse effects our diet has on our lives and on our world. He is a very successful businessman and a passionate writer and a lively radio host. His passion is helping people embrace the principles of veganism, and in so doing, creates the paradise the world was originally intended to be. Thus, meatism is satanic sadism. Meatism is the direct opposite of all that is good, just, and loving. It is the very degradation of paradise. Meatism is the cornerstone of dystopia, both the root problem and the forbidden fruit. Topic 2007, page 139. Hence, by eating meat, the first humans lost their paradise. This is Paradise Lost. John Milton, Paradise Lost, the epic poem. Thou shalt not kill, Lord Tak. Moses was given the law of not to kill as the sixth one of the 10 Commandments. Since God is the same today, yesterday, and forever, we know that not to kill must have been the law from the beginning and must have been given to Adam. According to Rabban Al-Khali, 1996, he's one of the greatest modern scholars in Hebrew. The Hebrew expression Lo Tak, like its English translation, thou shalt not kill, refers to the death of any creatures, not just the murder of humans. Thou shalt not kill. So that there is no object, so that you can apply for all sentient beings. Unfortunately, most Chinese versions of the Bible add an object to thou shalt not kill, and the object in those Chinese translations is humans. By slaughtering and eating the flesh of an animal, Adam and Eve fell out of harmony with God, with nature, with the animals, and with their own bodies. Through violating the sixth commandment, Adam and Eve brought death unto the world. Their disobedience sowed the seeds of decay in their body and violence in their soul, so much so that God regretted having created them. Any questions so far? Again, Adam and Eve eating animal flesh, despite God's warning. Very unwise. After the fall, Adam changed from immortal to mortal. He lived 930 years. Noah lived to 950. The average lifespan before the flood was 857 years. After the deluge, Noah and his clan mistakenly thought that God permitted them to eat animal flesh, though not without stringent restrictions. Since then, the average lifespan of humans rapidly dropped. Abraham lived up to 175, after whom the average human life expectancy gradually dropped to the modern average of 70 to 80 years. So, any questions? Oh, sorry, excuse me. Let me take a break. Let us take a break. I'm going to the washroom. All right. So far, so good. No question? Then we will go on. As backed up by scientific studies, meat eating really reduces life expectancy, makes humans vulnerable to various diseases. For example, cancer, diabetes, obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, you name it. According to Michael J. Aldrich and Gary Fraser, 2013, Adventist men in California live an amazing 7.3 years longer than non-Adventist men, and the advantage for Adventist women is 4.4 years. The equivalent figures for vegetarian Adventists are 9.5 and 6.6 years for men and women, respectively. Science proves that veganism improves health. Humans are anatomically herbivores. Given their long colon and intestine, blunt and flat teeth, alkaline saliva, limited nails, poor sense of smell, etc., according to Peter, 2018. Thus, eating meat will naturally do harm to their health. Eating meat will, of course, harm animals, but it will also do harm to humans themselves. Very unwise. According to Michael J. Aldrich and Gary Fraser, 2014. Will someone read this aloud? David.
According to Michael J. Orlick and Gary Fraser of 2014, vegetarian diet patterns were associated with lower lower body mass index, lowering prevalence and incidence of diabetes mellitus, lowering prevalence of metabolic syndrome and its component factors, lowering prevalence of hypertension, lowering all-cause mortality, and in some instances, lowering risk of cancer. Findings with regard to factors related to vegetarian diets and bone health were also reviewed. These initial results show important links between vegetarian patterns and improved health.
Oh, thank you very much, David. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay. So compares the China study conducted by Cornell University, Oxford University, and Chinese researchers. And to date, the largest population study on the relationship of diet to health found that those Chinese who ate the least amount of animal products had correspondingly lower risks of cancer, heart attacks, and other chronic degenerative diseases. A British study by P.N. Appleby, M. Thorogood, J.I. Mann, and T.J. Key done in 1999, tracked 6,000 vegetarians and 5,000 meat eaters for 12 years and found that vegetarians were 40% less likely to die from cancer during that time and 20% less likely to die from other diseases. Our thesis is corroborated by numerous other verses in the Holy Bible. Most prophets denounced meat eating and animal sacrifice. At times, even God or Christ himself condemned flesh consumption and bloody sacrifice. Below, please find some examples. We have gone through all this before. Isaiah, I have had enough of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of well-fed beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or lambs or goats. Amos, I despise your feasts. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings, I will not accept them. Maybe Veronica, please read this aloud.
Micah 6 verse 6 to 8. Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams? He has taught you, O man, what is good, to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with the God. Jeremiah 7:22 to 23. For in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I did not speak to your fathers or command them to concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. Hosea 6 verse 6. For I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings.
Thank you, Veronica, very much. Wonderful. So we have gone through all this before. So this is a revision. These prophets emphasize ethical living and inner devotion over ritual animal sacrifice, often highlighting God's preference for justice, mercy, and compassion. The legacy of compassion was inherited by Jesus, who famously declared, I desire compassion, not sacrifice, Matthew 9:13, echoing Hosea 6:6. Jesus did not just preach this ethic, he lived it. In liberating the sacrificial animals from the temple and in calling the temple turned butcher's shop a den of murderers, he debunked its fraudulent nature and disrupted the lucrative income stream of the chief priests and scribes, who immediately afterwards plotted to have him killed. Mark 11:18, eventually leading to his arrest, trial, and crucifixion. We have gone through this many times before, haven't we? So, how to regain paradise? The lost key to the Garden of Eden is to be Christ-like, to adopt a global plant-based diet and a vegan lifestyle, compassionate to all sentient beings, by which we will reconcile ourselves with God, with our bodies, with nature, with the animals, and regain paradise lost. But the wolf and the lamb shall again feed together, and the lion shall again eat straw. Isaiah 65, 20 to 21 and 25. Actually, as aforementioned, in order to overcome the fall, in order to wake us up to the gruesomeness, perversity, sinfulness of meat eating, and lead us back to the vegan Eden, Jesus Christ died on the cross. To borrow the words of Erwin, the horrifying image and the symbolism of the crucifixion, the bloody torture and agonizing murder of the sinless Son of God seems to mirror the merciless slaying of many an innocent animal in the slaughterhouse. So Jesus expects us to follow him, to carry his cross, to continue his mission on earth as it is in heaven. So in order to re-enter the Garden of Eden, we had better abstain from the forbidden fruit and return to the vegan Edenic diet and lifestyle prescribed by God in Genesis 1:29. The key to return to the Garden of Eden is veganism, compassion, righteousness, mercy. Everyone is happy here in the original Garden of Eden.